See, we only have 4 songs. This is our way of stalling between adding.
Well, they're 14 minutes.
Roughly one every half hour. Oh, Paula's storming out. Oh,
Paid for this? Oh, wait.
Your tax dollars.
we are in fact mini bands. New Gourd Band, not mini blacks. There was a mini blacks old Gourd Band. We'll talk about later.
Who's it?
They are, we have to point out, they are good, so things happen.
So what do you want?
That's gonna be the t-shirts. They're gourds. What do you want?
Where's my drum set?
Will you tell some of the story?
A story?
Of the story. Some of the story.
Well, Mini Black was born in 1890, or gosh, 1899, and in East Bernstadt, Kentucky, outside of London, Kentucky. You know, the other. And
My great grandparents married.
is that right? Is that right? Well, I mean, she was like, I mean, aside from in Laurel County, Kentucky, aside from, oh, I don't know, Colonel Sanders, she was like the number 2, famous personality from there. She started growing gourds, I think, way back in the 40s maybe. In the 60s, she started making them into creatures and animals, especially, they had a, I guess they had a little grocery store, cinder block building, outbuilding that they sold groceries out of. When her husband died, she converted it into sort of a museum. And so she really actually made way more monsters and animals and cavemen and aliens and all kinds of crazy, crazy things out of the gourds. The instruments, I mean, you can sort of get a feel for what a lot of them look like. She just couldn't stop. And I guess they just kept growing in her garden, and it's always a good gourd. Oh God, now I gotta make another lizard. And she just put them, she's just like, you know how when you grow tomatoes and you have too many of a squash, you just have to give them to people to make, and just, so she got to where she just had shelf after shelf of them, and so she had a museum that people could come see, and then I think in the 80s she started making instruments for her people she knew at the OPAC, the Old Persons Activity Center in London, and they played around. They got a documentary made about them. KET made a documentary about them, and meanwhile, this is sort of the height of Minnie's fame was probably in the 80s around then, where she was on David Letterman first, and then she was on Johnny Carson, and just tons and tons of newspaper articles and little news stories, local TV news, magazine articles, and things like this. And then I guess she died in 1990, I should memorize these things.
92.
Then, many years later, we ran across these crazy gourd sculptures. And it turns out that her daughter, who is now herself in her late 80s, Ruth, lives in Henderson. And she's kind of been tasked with finding homes for all these things. So for many years, all these things stayed in her basement. And I kind of started talking to her, and we were invited to come look at the things in the basement. We kept kind of angling towards maybe taking the instruments and trying them out. And eventually they were given to us. Something that we got them playing. They sound like, okay, I like this. We'll play a little, we'll talk more.
reciprocal.